The Great Siege of Preven was a terrible affair. 4 huge legions of the warlord Wazuban had descended upon the city like a cloud. The outer walls fell quickly, but the main gate had held firm, for the Baron and his knights still held sway, and the bodies of the Aserai mounted into huge and reeking piles. But as the battle wore on, both flanks of the city began to break down, and there was widespread reports of routing and fear. Finally, the gate succumbed to a huge Aserai thrust, and despite a desperate charge by a wedge of the elite 8th Corps, the city had fallen. Despite sterling leadership, why had so many troops routed? Why had the militia fled the field almost before the battle started? There were more questions than answers after the siege of Preven, and the Baron's new empire looked like it was over almost before it had even started. Unpleasantly rejoining the Baron here in a deep, dark, dank prison within the city he just took. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. We just loaded up another episode of the Baron and Company, and we're in a very dark stage of this campaign. This is not where I expected to be. We wanted this campaign to be extraordinarily difficult, and it's been more than difficult. We are in prison, of course, at Preven, because we could not withstand a siege of a gigantic Aserai force. In fact, you can see there's over 4,000 Aserai left after the battle. And I normally skip over this, but at this stage of the campaign, I'm trying to show you guys the majority of the interesting content, and so we will roll along with it here in the Baron. A very tenuous, difficult spot in this campaign. Still at war with the Aserai. Now, we can't declare or ask for peace anyways in prison, but the Baron is too obstinate, too proud to ask for peace anyways. We'll see if the invasion here changes his mind as these Aserai forces just continue to launch an all-out assault against his new empire, his fledgling empire here, heading towards his other locations. Now, that was quick. They're offering a ransom here, and the Baron does want freedom, so we're going to pay for freedom here. We've got to probably dump a couple horses, and we've got to sort of in a hurry here figure out what to do to try to stop this avalanche of this Aserai invasion. It's really an Aserai Vlandian invasion as well, because the Vlandians are nearby. Fortunately, there hasn't been major Sturgeon invasions. The Sturgeons are at war with the Khuzait. You see death spam from out east, and I'm not sure which city to go to, but we've got to get some reinforcements here. Ormondfard has a tiny garrison. You know, we might be able actually to get inside Ox Hall, and this situation's realistic, right? Getting in with like 20-30 troops. If we can pick up some troops at a village here, I think we'll be able to sneak into the city. Of course, there's nobody to call, and we're in an extraordinarily desperate stage of this campaign. You know, we have all kinds of settings and mods that are making this about as hard a campaign as you can play in Bannerlord, and that is the goal. I'm not complaining here by any stretch, but to say this is difficult, this is a little bit like trying to juggle 5 chainsaws with your penis. Bad things are bound to happen. Not to mention, you would require a lot of dexterity just to get some of those chainsaws off the ground. There's a really weak garrison inside of Oxhall, but I think this is our best bet, especially since the Vlandian force has been worn down here a little bit. Hey, it's our old friend Entho. I wish I could just recruit this guy to our army here. Of course, we are on some level going to add this guy to the campaign. It's incredible. This guy's just been a feature of the last 3, 4, 5 episodes. He's been joining in with battles. And Baron York's 17% health and 11 recruits are going to try to ride to the rescue here at Oxhall. And that'll just be the first step in today's episode in recovering this campaign. Make sure we get the right banner. Reduce damage here since we're at 16% health. And Entho won't join here. Of course, they won't sneak into the city no matter what, but he likes the Vlandians. He doesn't like the other kingdoms. This just might be doable. There's weak troops here sieging. We need to get in here because I need those 85 troops that are in Oxhall. We lose... Some of our recruits got cut down trying to get inside the walls here. And here we go. We have 5 troops. There's no siege whatsoever. And the enemy has counter siege. So this campaign continues to take turns and twists. I promised you fellas an epic campaign. I didn't promise you victory either. I must remind you that's, I think, hopefully a good element. You guys are just not sure. Like any great book or movie, you're not going to be sure whether or not success is a guarantee here. It sure doesn't look good, right? It looks about as bad as at any stage of this campaign right now. The Aserai are just straight out ripping apart, as you English would say, straight away. They are ripping apart our kingdom. No controversy here. As they just plow through our realm. Now, the Vlandians are kind of on death's bed, death's door or something like that. Yeah, on their deathbed too, something like that. But they're still attacking, right? They hate the Baron, and you got to feel that if the Vlandians get a hold of the Baron, it would be Execution City, right? Either on a role-playing level or in practicality, right? A lot of the Vlandian nobles. He has a minus 100 relations with. So there's definitely a chance if we lose a battle like this, the Baron gets flat out executed. Now we have an odd eclectic mix of infantry here. We've got some shock troops mixed in with a whole bunch of infantry, militia rather. 2, 3, we have no counter siege. So this is a really strange siege. Now I got a bunch of recruits here with pitchforks and maces. We're really down to the dregs of troops here. That was a disastrous battle in an early kingdom stage of Bannerlord. Now, if you were playing this as your own campaign, of course, you would just beg for peace with the Aserai. The Baron's not going to do that, right? He's not about to show that he's weak or not an alpha male, even though clearly that would be the logical thing to do. In real life, I don't think your enemy would give you terms like they do in Bannerlord. They give you, let's see, let's get this 6th division here. They give you peace for like 20,000 gold. I mean, that's ridiculous. Then you can just tear up the contract in a month once you're ready to fight them. I think in real life, they would just exploit the shit out of you, or maybe even just annihilate you completely, hang you. Now, what is going on here with these divisions? It's like they're mixed somehow. How come there's 40? I don't understand what's going on here. When I look at these divisions, they're not mixing like I'm telling them to. I'm trying to say put the best troops in the 1st division. It keeps putting good troops in the 2nd division. So on top of all the other difficulties here, I'm having game problems where I normally don't have problems like this, right? The divisions are all pretty easy to sort out. Now, of course, our defense is going to be relatively obvious here, right? We're going to defend the main door, but I just don't have good angles. I've talked about this city before. Oxhall is not a very defendable city, but we're only fighting 400 attackers here, at least before reinforcements come. There's definitely a chance we get reinforcements. Even the Aserai armies might engage. Of course, that'll just be, I will facepalm if all of a sudden it says, Wazuban's army is coming in. Of course, Wazuban despises the Baron, right? We will learn more about that. I will explain some of that. Those that are studying the campaign closely understand this that there is deep animosity here. And if you haven't been watching closely, if you haven't been reading between the lines, we will simply read for you. Now, I'm feeling some strain and stress here because, of course, if we lose this, we're just flat out curtains. I don't know what the fuck we would do. You can get to a stage of a campaign where you have no fiefs. and you basically have to run to a pocket of the map. Oh shit, I'm getting lost in my own city here. Now, there's not that much of a hurry to get up there because we don't have any siege. These guys here, there's a mix of fucking crossbow in there. See, I was worried these divisions were fucked up. It didn't look like it from the other perspective, but we do have a mix of kind of infantry with some crossbow there. So I've got a bit of a mess here early on in this siege, and I'm feeling rather flustered. I feel like my hair is all disheveled. Of course, I'm bald just like the Baron, but I feel like, you know, the proverbial I ate an onion. They forced me to drink a 40 out of a crumpled paper bag before this battle, and now my units are all mixed up here. And there's a lot at stake, of course. If we get captured here, we're going to lose at least 2 more fiefs. We'll probably lose Rovalt. It looked like one of the armies was going to Drapan Castle, and then another one was going to Rovalt. I didn't see the third army, so we're very much in a must-win situation. I've used that term a couple times in the campaign. This is definitely a must-win battle if the Baron is not going to be executed here or some other horrific shit. Now I'm trying to speed along some parts of Siege and, you know, use the RTS mod, especially because the Baron is kind of slow. I think the snow, for some reason, with the realistic weather mod, it makes, even if you're indoors, it makes movement slow. So we'll try to use the RTS mod, but at the same time, the enemy's pounding us with fucking trebuchets. I can't get killed here, right? I've got 15% health. Who knows what'll happen if the Baron goes down here. The Baron's got to kill 50 people in this battle here for us to win, right? We've got a whole bunch of recruits and militia. Now this city sucks. Look at this. There's nowhere to fucking throw the main rocks, and I can't really hit them from up here as well. This city, I'm going to give this city a D. This is one of the worst defendable cities in the game. And here we are, we're forced to defend it. So difficulty to the max. If this was like a Varon castle, I could literally set the defenses up and then go make dinner, come back in 10 minutes, and you'd be like, where the fuck's the narration? Be like, I'm making dinner, fellas. Come on, man. Give me a break here. It's Varon castle. What kind of narration do you need? But here, I'm sort of desperate to kill as many of these troops as we can. I'm worried the enemy forces are going to come on the ramparts here and corner me. I don't have enough health to really fight, right? I mean, we're going to have to fight, but put it this way. I don't have enough health to fight 2, 3, 4 guys at once. We're going to have to really pick our fight here with the Baron. Now, on top of that, we had death, right? Comet was killed in that disastrous Aserai battle. I really did think we could win that. But for some reason, they're leaking through here on our skirmishers. Don't hurt my horse, man. I thought we could win that battle at Preven against that Aserai force. Of course, I didn't want a suicide, but we just got absolutely shellacked. It was a fucking blowout. I probably did a few things wrong in retrospect, but that's right. Spilt milk under the bridge, right? We move on. Oh, shit. We're going to have to rely on this fast Falx here and a lot of athleticism to stay afloat. And, of course, this nice, strong square. Now, the other side is kind of a mess. I'm charging with that 2nd division because the enemy's coming down this rampart where I didn't expect. So we've got a bit of chaos on this side. Fortunately, there are some recent infantry mixed with this crossbow division. It's not what I wanted, but I just got hit with a javelin. Hit my fucking shield. This is the criminal fucking that threw it. The Baron is feeling strained and stressed. So, archers there. Let's try to position this 2nd division back a little ways. There's nasty enemy troops. Fuck. I'm down to a fucking sliver. I can't take another hit. You fucker. Get the fuck out of here. Now, I haven't seen any reinforcements yet. That'll be a real problem if they get reinforcements. This siege is already going to be difficult, but with reinforcements as well, they're fucking drilling our troops here with javelins on this right flank. Fuck. They're falling to their death. And the gate is starting to stack up here with high-end troops. Get off our 1st division, you fuckers. Now, I thrive on pressure as a person, as a firefighter. I think that's sort of innate. And talk about pressure, right? I can't take a single hit here, so it's called survive. At the same time, we have to fight, right? These fuckers here are trying to rally troops. Our militia over here is down to the dregs, right? There's guys with pitchforks standing next to me here. Fight, motherfuckers! First division's in decent shape. It looks like it's about half reduced. We can get some of these second division guys over here. We might even just be better off joining some of them into the first division, right? Fatten it up a little bit. That square at the gate's got to remain a distracting factor. The enemy's starting to bring up... These look like archers. They are. So archers are starting to come up and fight in melee. The right side, or the left side seems okay. This right side is a problem. I'm going to keep a closer eye on this. Fuck, they're bringing up sharpshooters. I've got to really bob and weave in here. Let's get this group over here. Let's push the first away here and get ready to charge with this second division. Any of them that come through, of course, to shoot, we will then bum rush. Get in here. Make sure we don't get shot here around the corner. I know there's fucking sharpshooters right there at the door. We're kind of sparring there. Those are our best archers in the alleyway there. Shoot them, boys. They got a pretty good angle on them. The left seems okay. I want these guys to come in, right? You want them to come in for line of sight, and then we'll rush them. They're sort of trickling in. And get ready to charge here. Let's get this second, third. The first, I push the opposite way just to essentially help buffer that right side here. I think it's time to charge here. They're starting to really pour in here. Let's go, boys. Militia and everything, in we go. Gotta keep an eye out behind myself here. I'm getting fucking shot at. Fuckers. Now, the enemy doesn't have very many troops. It's getting messy over here where I sent the first. They've got it, though. There's more coming. Fuck. You got it, militia. I think we got this shit. This side is secure. First is in decent shape still. The second will pull back. Let's bring this militia division up close. We might need these guys to fight right here at the entrance to the gate. I hear yelling and screaming on the other side. There's some troops fighting in the gatehouse here. Okay, we got this shit. There's troops shooting over here. All of a sudden, we're getting losses. Let's bring the first over. What do we got here? Fuck, the enemy's making another press here. Let's get these archers move back. Push infantry towards them. I can't get shot here. I'm down to a fucking sliver. Once this first division joins here, I'm going to wade in. They're close enough. Fucking sharpshooters trying to draw a bead on me. I have zero health. None. Yep. You didn't get a shot off, did you, buddy? Ooh. Oh, man. I fucking thrill to close battles. And unless there's... Okay, I was going to say, unless there's forces we don't know about, we got this shit. A very tight battle here, but a critical victory for us. This is going to allow us to secure the garrison here. We're going to have like 100, 125 troops, and then we're going to rush to one of these other locations that's under assault. So this is amazing. These are all troops. I was like, these are prisoners? These are troops. So they captured some bandits. You know what? We'll take them, right? We got George, the Bandit King. You guys obviously can forgive us here if we take advantage of some of the different aspects of this campaign. Of course, these bandits are coming because we have these monstrous bands of bandits out there that are a problem, right? The Baron's going to have to negotiate and navigate with armies of bandits as well while we try to recover our army here. This will at least give us like 100 troops. I'm going to take most, if not all, of the garrison here too. We just need every single fuck. We lost all our equipment. So that means I don't have any, I have no Jarids for the moment. People are still dying. Damn, look at this noble escaped. This Vlandian noble escaped. Now, recruit all these troops. Beautiful. There's a huge garrison here from all the quests we've been doing. See, this is where it really, really counts. We'll take this whole garrison. Let's leave the recruits because we might be able to pick up some decent troops out there. There's a couple, 3 garrisons that we should be able to go to, right? The enemy at this stage doesn't have enough troops to siege all of our locations. So there's at least going to be a few locations that we can sort of run to desperately and pick up some troops. At the same time, I'm really hesitant to leave these garrisons empty, but you got to do what you got to do, right? We're down to the rags. Entho's party is as large as ours. Japan Castle, okay. We saw an army going over there. I'm surprised one of these cities is not under siege. I thought it said Rovalt, but I could be wrong. Maybe they changed their mind. Now, before we even get away from Ox Hall, because Ox Hall's garrison is so small, there's already another Vlandian force sieging. And I don't feel like we can attack this force. We might even lose. And more importantly, I can't sustain 40, 50, 70 casualties while we got it. There's another army coming while we have these other locations under siege. Of course, almost all of our captains and companions are held prisoner, right? Some of them are at Preven. They'll kind of trickle back to the party here, but that's another problem here. And this is another big problem, right? This army here that's coming in, I can't attack Ingiltrude for sure because that army will add on as a reinforcement. Then we'll be captured again for sure. So, Ostracan, there's a couple hundred. I think we'll try to go around, right? We'll just leave this guy alone. There's 100 defenders. So Ox Hall is probably going to fall without our aid, but maybe if we can handle business, I was going to say handle business at Rovalt. That was sort of inevitable that they would eventually get there. They were heading that way. And here's another Aserai force. I really do feel like a bullied freshman at a school famous, notorious for a bunch of senior football player bullies. That's how I feel right now. I feel like whatever hallway I go down, there's some guy fucking menacing, cracking his knuckles with his fucking stupid looking jeans jacket. And we can't fight that force either, right? There's tons of elite troops in it. Ormondfard Castle. I think if he pursues or heads north, it says he's following one of the armies. So that just shows you that those armies, as big as they were, they're still adding troops, which is insane. A couple of them were like 2,000, and they evidently have still more armies coming to reinforce them. And you saw that guy's troops; it was fucking stacked. Just Aserai veteran infantry, tons of them, and tons of other Vanguard Ferris. The Aserai at this stage have the strongest army I've ever seen in Bannerlord, and I've played a lot of Bannerlord. What I mean from it is not so much the number, although they have 5,000-6,000 here, is the quality of the units. It seems like their entire army is tier 5 and 6. On top of that, of course, amplified lords. Yikes. Wazuban, of course, is looking for the Baron. Right. Again, that storyline will continue to play out. This is beautiful, though. We got some companions here. This is... Come on, boys. Let's do this shit. Let's fucking sit up straight. Let's fucking recover this shit here. Dig deep. Fuck you, Asterais. Right. We're gonna fucking take them out to the woodshed here with every single troop we can gather. Damn, we got a bunch of troops kind of sneaking in here. I'm still, the Baron is going to stick to these rules here. We're not going to be using... I'm just going to leave him in here. It doesn't really make a big difference. I don't want to waste a lot of time and try to gather these, it looks like 4 or 5 non-Aserai units and dump them. We're just going to gather a bunch of troops here. I'll try to stick to Aserai forces, but I'm not as worried about that rule right now. I'm just not obviously going to take Fian champs and stuff like that into the army. Once we have 400 plus troops here, we're going to head to Rovalt. It's time to make our stand. Hopefully there's only, 2,000, 1,500 there. And we'll just lead those troops. Some people might say you're using non-Vlandian troops. Well, yeah. Guilty. You can write it on Reddit. Tactical Enlightenment. What a cheating hack. All right. There's not really some food. Oh, here's some food. Let's take some bare bones food. You always want to give your troops lots of beer, olives, and meat before battle. That's good for the soul. And we're going to need it here. There's going to be a garrison that's there as well. Some militia. I'll be able to hit all these villages. In fact, I think we'll go over capacity for this battle. What we want to do in this situation is make sure that we have an overwhelming defense force to ensure victory. Now these guys are getting free, Garrison Keeler, but they won't be able to join the army for a little while, right? There's a period where they're basically, it says they're like recovering. So at least we have, I think, 4 or 5 companions. That's going to have to do. And beautiful, all these villages that we've been doing quests for, all these, we've been sopping up to them, doing, delivering their herd and fucking handling the gangster who took their daughter and shit like that. They're willing to give us lots of troops here, and we need it, right? Because there's 2 large Aserai forces here, and they just fucking got boosted by the strength in AI. Strength in AI 2,800. The garrison's a lot smaller than I thought. It must be getting pounded down. That's a problem. So we're going to have about 700 once we sneak in here, but you got to do what you got to do, right? Of course, nobody's 100% healthy. We're all fucking scrambling. They gave us a 40 in a paper bag and an onion and said, there's a big battle today. It's time to fight. Although we have beer, onions, and meat, right? Like I said, we don't have time to cook the meat. Just like the Civil War soldiers in the USA, they wouldn't even cook their bacon. They'd just eat it raw. In the battle we go here, raw bacon and all. Now, I don't see Wazuban here. That's good, right? Wazuban, his army is absolutely terrifying. His troops, that was part of the reason we got completely demolished at Preven. His troops are insane. They're like God mode. And I like that, right? Anybody who watched the Aserai campaign knows that Wazuban is probably the most scary character I've ever played in Bannerlord. He's just ultra high level. I think he's level 50 something. And of course, we have copy-pasted him into this campaign. So pretty cool. He was a menace to the Vlandians in that campaign, and here we are playing, in a Vlandian role, and he's a menace to us. It's kind of exactly what I hoped for. All right, we are going to have to do a little bit of a modified siege defense. This, like Rovalt, like Oxhall rather, is not a good defensive city. I'm going to do a second division kind of tucked in there. It's the main area behind the gate is fucking downhill. So it lends itself a little bit to a reverse slope decline. We'll probably transition to that at some point, especially if these wings start to get destroyed. But there's not a lot of room here. Now, this left side is good, actually. I'm going to be able to put a long division of crossbow right here. But I also observe very weak crossbow. At this stage, of course, we've lost a lot of our best troops to combat. That's just all there is to it. Now, we've got good companions, at least for this battle. And in we go here, right? You guys hold on tight with these companions. You guys are in for the ride. Marco, etc. We will get you back in the army as soon as we can. But beggars can't be choosers. We'll take anybody we can get. Now, I'm going to still put these archers downhill in a little bit of a V shape. And I think with that large square at the gate, we can still get the enemy sort of trickling in where these guys will still be able to shoot. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. So we'll put some of our better archers down here because we may have to shift to a reverse slope decline defense. It'll kind of depend on the battle flow. We did do a guide on this city, though. We were able to defend it, I think, outnumbered 5-1 for one of our castle defense series. So I've got hope that we can pull this off. The 6th Division, 5th. All right, let's stretch the 5th out in a very long line here. This left side is going to be ironclad, right? These guys are going to smoke everything on those ladders. They're up close. This division, that 3rd division is really weak. We've got so many militia here and weak troops, recruits, that what I think I'm going to do is punt aside. I think in a situation like this with such a huge 1st division and the right side is so hard to defend here, what I think it makes sense is if we do a militia division or a militia defense on this side of the city, which is going to only slow the enemy down at most, right? These guys are going to get butchered. You can see almost none of them even have a shield. They're just all recruits and militia and guys with pitchforks. We're down to calling, the 19-year-old, the 16-year-old from the tavern. Those guys are done, being busboys. We need them in combat today. The Baron is sequestering every single troop from the city here. Even that whole side over there, all of those crossbow, those are all militia. So the right side is going to break down, but we do have good siege. Now, again, I can't count on destroying the ram. We may take a shot or two at it, but you have to remember the enemy here in this situation has engineers, siege engineers with 300 skill. The guys who say just destroy the ram, that's not a thing unless you get very lucky with catapult shots because the ram is so strong. It has so many hit points. For the guys, who are just like, how come you don't destroy the ram? You can't when you have this kind of a difficult campaign. This is not something you'll ever see in Bannerlord where the enemy has siege engineers with 300 engineering skill. Out of the way here, boys. It's fucking got to get up here, though. What we need to do is kill a couple 300 elite troops here as they come in. So I'm going to mount this catapult. We're going to blast the... Whoops. There is no catapult. We're looking like a dipshit already here. I've kind of been out of sorts here. I've been playing the the Disaster of War series, and in between these Baron York episodes, and I can't help but wonder. Actually, this is a Disaster of War. We don't need to have any more episodes of Disaster of War for a while. We've got our own scenario here, right? This is our catapult aim is bad. This is almost exactly like a perfect Disaster of War scenario. Now, of course, logically thinking, right? You would just man, I can't even hit the ram. You would just get peace with the Aserai, right? Oh, you guys watching, of course, that are experienced Bannerlord players understand that this part is contrived. This is a role-playing element. The Baron has more than enough money to pay, what were they asking, 14,000 or something like that? No problem, right? We make that every other day in loot. The bottom line is vanilla Bannerlord, or even in this case, just Bannerlord, the various different elements of it are highly exploitable. There's so many different things you can do to sort of not ensure victory, but make victory very, very likely. We got a fire catapult over there we can run over to. However, the enemy's going to be up here on the walls pretty quickly, right? They're going to be going up these siege ladders in T-minus 10 seconds. So I think we're just going to dump all of these fireballs and then get down in the courtyard. There may be an opportunity at some point for us to get to those fire catapults, but right now it does not seem possible. The walls on this city are very inaccessible. There's no gatehouse walls, right? You can go from the gatehouse down to where the gate is, but you can't here, as I already saw, right? When I ran in there, it's like you can't go anywhere. So we're just gonna throw as many of these little fucking trick-or-treat explosions down into the enemy. We're racking up kills here, and then we're gonna get down there to help our men. Of course, the troops we're killing, look at the quality. It's just tier 5, tier 6, tier 5. You don't see a single tier 4 unit in there. And now they're going to be coming for us. Although it looks like they're heading towards the gatehouse. I wonder why they would do that. No, they're just here. See, I can't get down from here, so we can't fight either. There's a lord here. I'm out of here. We're going to get mauled. It's vital, of course, that Baron York stays afloat for this battle. But we've got the makings of a good defense, right? This side is kind of a mix of militia and mediocre troops. That right side is going to melt. But this center of the battlefield, right over where I'm at right now, is going to last a long time. The 2nd Division is decent, and it's huge. There's like 120 troops there. I'm going to swing my fucking sword until my fingers are sore. I do see the crossbow downhill are shooting, too, so that's an exciting, welcome development. I guess it's not too exciting. You guys are like, oh, look how exciting it is. And the death spam it's a touch worrisome, right? Because we have to get, what, a 5 or a 6 to 1? 6 to 1, 7 to 1 kill ratio, something like that, to win this. And of course, we're going to have militia. I see militia using their little spears. But I like the setup so far, right? This looks like a winning recipe here. Now it's just a question of, can our troops sustain against this assault? The shields are going to start to break. Guys are going to start to get hit when they're blocking somebody else. There's just a ton of elite troops stacking up here. So definitely got to do my best here to continue to try to disable. The old bracketed false gap, false range gap here for this city. Looks like it's going to work. You can see the bolts flying right through over here. Beautiful. All those high-level crossbow are shooting. Now, this side is a problem, right? These guys are getting blown up. Let's get these guys out of here. This archer division, I kind of want them for later on. If we can get them moved down, those guys will at least be an asset if and when we switch to a reverse slope decline here. The militia's getting pounded on. Get off our militia! We're going to put them to work 16-hour days once we secure the city here. Okay, that side looks good. There's a huge amount of red death spam. That's got to be that far side, the militia melting. Reinforcements just came up too, and they got butchered. So, fuck. I just got insta-killed. Let's try to close that just a little bit more. Yeah, there's a lot of militia in there. We lost a lot of lake rats. In fact, I think we have like no lake rats now. Maybe we got 5 or something like that. We accumulated like 50 at one point. And I like having some skirmishers for a battle like this, really just giving them 2 or 3 minutes of volleys where the enemy forces just melt. And we just don't have it here. I don't have a shock troop division I can send in either, right? So we really are relying on our archers, crossbow, to kill a lot of Aserai forces here. And we don't really have great crossbow. I would say 80% of our crossbow here is like tier 3 or lower. And that's part of the death spam. If we had elite crossbow here, they would be melting everything that came through here. This is the only real opening. The other sides are ladders, right? So the guys on the ladders are getting smoked. But the enemy is just trucking right through the middle here and pushing right through our crossbow fire. And we got stubborn elite units. See, those are all militia. That guy. Our left side, or our right side is gone, right? This whole right side has been destroyed. So it's starting to get a little desperate here. I may have to pull back in reverse slope decline defense. I still got plenty of health, right? So the Baron is going to be rock and roll in this battle. I think it makes sense to just do a reverse slope decline. The reason you do it here is twofold. First, it allows all of our forces to fight in a concentrated area. More concentration, more firepower, more damage. We don't have great archers, but if we can get high level, if we can get a lot of mid-level archers, it's almost like having high-level archers. Second, we'll be able to really narrow the opening that the enemy's coming down, right? We'll be able to make a small opening where they get funneled really bad. Fans of the channel, of course, have seen us do this before in other secondary defenses, and I think this situation is starting to dictate that that's the best route. The main reason is that our forces are starting to dwindle something fierce here at the front gate, right? We're just very slowly taking a beating, and I don't think we can afford to keep this right side defended. What it does is it allows us to ignore that right side. Now, I'm not going to do it quite yet. We're gonna pull back here to that secondary spot once these archers are repositioned. I want to make sure we at least get this division that was on our left down there locked and loaded, and then we'll pull these troops back. Of course, I want to try to get these units off of their fucking back before we do that. Now, I still see sergeants and other good troops in this first division, so it's definitely going to last a long time. The question is will it last long enough? And can these weak archers hold back the tide? I've actually got too many in the second. I wish badly I had one more division that could be a shock troop division or something like that. That way we could charge and clear up sort of the extra in between the two squares. But let's roll with this for now. Let's move these guys back. I don't want these guys drawing any ammo. And of course, we're point of no return now with this tactic. You cannot turn around and regain the gate at this stage, right? The enemy's now starting to pour down this hill. But if we can expose their kidneys to the sides here, right, and just bring these guys down so that they're point blank being shot by all our crossbow, there's going to be an incredible amount of bolts coming through that little opening. Don't rout, you bitches! I got fucking militia starting to rout. That's all we need. There was an awful lot of routing also at Preven, right? We had all kinds of troops routing and yelling. You get that audible clue, right? I don't want to die! And you guys are running. That's not a good sign. Usually what that means is that the enemy has not only a much stronger force, the AI is saying we can't win this, but they also have perks that cause it to rout, right? The same way when you get high level 270 leadership or something, there's a bunch of perks that you get at the higher levels of certain skills where it helps the enemy rout, or it makes them rout more easy. You know, it's like, you know, you're a Napoleon style leader. This second division is really getting jostled around here by these superior units. They are starting to get down to some tier 4 units, so some glimmers of sunshine here, but there is still a huge amount of elite troops attacking that first division. Our second division is almost gone. Let's see, troop 6. We don't have any divisions of pure crossbow that I can borrow for a square, so this first division is going to have to carry all the weight here. Fight, men! Got my Avalons trying to take me out and shit. And it's starting to become an avalanche here. They've blown up this second division on the side. The bolts are hitting, but it just is not doing enough, and the enemy's really focusing on the Baron here. Just blocking holding up their shields. There's good death span, but there's also a lot of our units getting killed. It seems to come in waves. And this second division is gone. Fuck. There's a lot of crossbow shooting here, but the enemy's coming in just holding up their shield. All right, spraying him in the back here. How many is that left in that first? It's just melting. Fuck. Guys are routing. It looks like a fucking Aserai avalanche here coming down this hill. And they still have, you know, cataphract and elite units here. Fuck. Their shield with the smiley face. It's like this sardonic smiley face, and we've lost this siege. The enemy just ripped through the first division. Holy fuck. Look at this fucking Aserai force. It just looks like an avalanche. And Wazuban's not even here, right? The strongest Aserai leader's not even here. They have other strong leaders that we have amplified for this campaign. And somber music is playing here. Who else is going to die, right? What companions are going to die in this massacre? And what the fuck are we going to do next, right? We're down to 2 cities and 2 castles, and one of the cities is under siege again, Ox Hall. We're going to be left to maybe 700-800 troops in the whole fucking kingdom. And the Baron is just fighting with rage now, right? He just wants to kill bitches, kill some militia, you fuckers. And kill you 2 axemen, have your fucking head ripped off. Kill some recruits. Maybe I can get out of the city and fucking make an escape here. No such luck. And indeed, the day is lost, and you know, you guys that hate the Baron, you guys are loving this. You guys that are rooting for him, there's probably a mix of guys, you know, watching these episodes. There you have it. This juggernaut Aserai force continues to hold sway over the Baron. Very, very, it's darkest before the dawn, right? We only had 600 troops there, 630 troops. I thought we were going to have up close to 1,000. And we only killed about 1,250, 1,300. Yikes. So, we're back to square one here, right? It's back to the drawing board here for the Baron defeat. Now, there's no deaths. I'm surprised by this, but I'm pleased. At least there were no deaths. But what now, right? We are imprisoned at Rovalt. The enemy's sieging Ox Hall. We have Ulster Khan. Our wife is at Tirby Castle with a decent garrison. And we are thrown into a dungeon. Again, we're lucky the Baron's not executed here. We're lucky no other companions died. And we're going to have to... Well, we need a rabbit and a hat, because we're going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat at this stage in the campaign. You can just flat out lose a campaign. Of course, the other side of the map, there's Ryland, right? And Ryland is experiencing his own challenges. It's going to be interesting to see how this campaign develops. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the twists and turns. Hopefully the losses make the victory more sweet. For the guys who just want to see someone steamroll a campaign, we'll have some campaigns like that on the channel, of course, right? For the guys who just want to see pure dominance, start to finish, you know, an Alexander-style campaign. But for now, I'm very much enjoying these campaigns where victory is not assured. What is assured is brutal, difficult battles where we have to use our brain in a campaign map full of pitfalls and difficulties. And hopefully you are too. Of course, leave your feedback, right? I'm all interested in your feedback. Now is your time to subscribe to see more. Please hit that like button on the way out, fellas. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.